I'm not perfect, nor do I ever try to claim that I am, and when I get something wrong, boy, do you guys let me know I got it wrong. And yes, I'm sure welcome to my own opinions, and you guys have always welcomed those. I'm not trying to say that I'm not allowed to think what I want to think and talk about that. I want to be clear here, and I understand exactly why the community on the whole was like, yeah, it's cool, it's fine, whatever, but a lot of people were very frustrated with my stance because I wasn't listening to you guys. I was just talking to you about the situation and why I feel a certain way instead of taking in all the information. So I took a step back after that video and then hit it hard as far as researching, finding out more about this guy and everything that's out there to understand where the community is coming from. And holy crap, the information I found out about this Daniel Vavra guy is not great. In fact, every single thing that I was looking up about him seems to be disingenuous, pandering to a certain demographic, or just a straight up lie to the community. And at the end of the day, I totally understand where everybody was coming from. What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Smash JT. I first and foremost want to start off this video saying I'm sorry, I got it wrong, and I will try to be better moving forward. That doesn't mean that my opinion was not my opinion. I still stand by my opinion, but taking into account additional information does definitely change the dynamic of where I was coming from. And Daniel Vavra and everything this guy seems to stand for is on very shaky grounds, and ultimately turns out to be a liar when it comes to talking about anything regarding Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I'm not going to bother saying subscribe because people did plenty of unsubscribing in my past videos. So, hey, if you want to resubscribe, great. And if you don't, you want to move on, I appreciate you at least hearing me out on this video and seeing where we go from here. It's because of you guys in the community where I do listen to feedback and I take that in and try to be better. Over the years, Kingdom Come Deliverance has earned, as I'm actively learning in real time here, an extremely dedicated fan base for its commitment to historical realism. My initial take on this disregarded some of you very flippantly, tossing many aside for my own personal agenda. I wanted the sequel to be great. I wanted to finally have a great game to be excited about and actually play it this time. But after a lot of thought and powerful feedback from the community, I've taken a much deeper dive at who this Warhorse Studio founder Daniel Vavra guy really is, and how he strikes me as a compulsive liar, someone who I feel has been compromised and extremely disingenuous to the entire community. And many of you have let me know that in your own special way. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is a minefield for creators where many don't even want to talk about it so much as acknowledge a situation right now because of what transpires if you piss off one portion of the community. So what I'm going to do here is step back and say this is why the community's upset about the game. If people still want to proceed to purchasing it and playing it for hundreds of hours on end, have at it. I never want to stop anybody from playing a game, but I think it's very important to get the truth out there, which is why I think many people were frustrated with me in my previous video, where I just kind of disregarded any of the facts and information and the straight up lies from this Daniel Vavra guy that came out because potential involvement behind the scenes with his parent company Embracer Group or something else impacting his decision making. Vavra has long positioned himself as a champion of historical accuracy, famously stating that there were no black people in medieval Bohemia, period. Back in 2015, he said that. In a series of now well-documented tweets, he dismissed any suggestion otherwise, even claiming that top historians laughed at the idea. His stance was clear. Kingdom Come Deliverance was always to be about realism, not modern revisionism, which is what it looks like Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 has turned into, the polar opposite to what the initial game was built upon. Fast forwarding to Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, Vavra has now introduced Musa, a character whose mere presence directly contradicts those previous statements. According to Vavra's own explanation, Musa is a member of King Sigismund's court, an educated noble from Mali who found his way to Bohemia. And in a screenshot that's been making its rounds online, there is him saying the very peculiar Well, for example, people in my world are educated, not like yours, and education is the greatest wealth there is, which doesn't really strike me as something that would happen back then. I mean, maybe I'm no historian, but based off of prior conversations and things that have been stated by Daniel Vavra himself, this seems very out of place. If this kind of historical figure is possible now, why was it deemed impossible before? Pair that with the rise of DEI and the woke agenda, it's not a stretch to think that Vavra has somehow been influenced by his parent company, Embracer Group, that has purchased Warhorse Studios, and how Embracer Group seems to be a company that focuses quite a bit on DEI agendas and sustainabilities, diversity, equity, inclusion, and all those buzzwords that always gets tossed around. We haven't seen a smoking gun yet of any kind of email leak that shows, oh yeah, you do this and you get this loan and this money gets here. But you just put the pieces together and I mean, what are we doing here? Of course there's something happening. Embracer Group is a well-known and very struggling DEI-friendly corporation, and is really the only answer that makes any kind of real logical sense here. The problem isn't just about historical accuracy, though. It's about trust. Vavra isn't going to come out and say, hey guys, I just signed a deal with Embracer to ensure that we checked all those boxes in order to be funded. In a situation like this, we really need to read between the lines. This is the same guy that previously ridiculed the idea of a black character in its setting, only to later justify it in its own sequel. Was his original stance genuine, or was he always just saying what suited his argument at the time? Either way, it's a bad look. But it doesn't stop there. Traveling back 8 years ago, when they talked about how there's no way Henry was gay, there's a lot of contradictions that start to happen when you look at the official Warhorse Studios account on YouTube replying to comments and saying, no, we made Henry straight. And they even compare to if you're in a wheelchair, you can still play this game and walk around in the game, just like you are assuming the role of this character, Henry. He is not a created character. He's not being made to fit your ideologies. He is a character in the game that you play as. Whereas now in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, suddenly you can make him gay if you want to. Which is pretty frustrating for someone that doesn't want that character arc to be gay and wants the character to stick to what they built him upon in the first place. Max said, will we have some kind of same-sex romance or even any kind of romance? And Warhorse Studios replied, same-sex romance, no. You will play as Henry, the son of a blacksmith from Silver Scalus, and he already does have a background story in which he is not a bi, or homosexual. But there will be homosexual NPC characters in the game, and Max replied, so those players who are not straight will be forced to romance a woman? Which I gotta take a step back and just ask the question of whoever this dude's asking, like, what are you playing this game for, expecting your woke ideology to be implemented in a character from a game that you're playing? Like, would you expect Mario to be romancing, like, Toad in the game? Like, Mario goes after the princess. This is how some video games work, especially with established lore. So when this game was going the specific direction they chose, it's kind of weird to be like, hey, can we make sure the guy can be gay too? Because that's what I am. Warhorse Studios replied, nobody will force you to do anything, but you will play as Henry, the son of a blacksmith, and yes, he is straight and white and male and from Bohemia. Someone from France will not be able to play a French guy, even if he loves his country. If you're in a wheelchair, you will be able to walk in the game, and Henry will be able to have a dog in the game, even if you're more of a cat person. You will play as a Christian person, even if you're Muslim, Hindu, atheist, or Jedi. What if you're an artist and drawing is your life, and now you have to play as a character who is not able to hold a brush or pen at all? Or if you are tall or small or big or skinny. There's nothing wrong about people to have different preferences and heritages, but we cannot cover them all, and we don't want to. We want to tell the story of Henry, the son of a blacksmith from Silver Scalus, and he will be different from you, not only in his sexuality, but in his heritage, in his looks, and in his biography, and many more. He maybe will be able to do things you are not able to do in real life, while he lacks in other tasks in which you are great. This game is not meant to be about you. You are not Henry. You are Jan Silva, and you will be able to play as Henry if you want to. You can play his role. There are so much facets that creates a character, a person, an individual. Being gay or straight is not the only difference between people. People are people. And the conversation goes on from there, but holy crap, is that not a mic drop moment for this very studio themselves to indict themselves on a lie when you fast forward 8 years later and say, oh wait, yeah, now there's a gay quest in it, so yeah, it's totally fine because reasons. This all directly contradicts their previous extremely rigid stance on historical accuracy, and perfectly explains why the community is so up in arms about this game being woke in the first place. The more I'm looking into this dude, the more it seems like everything I find out about him raises some serious doubts on whether Vavra truly cares about authenticity at all, or more likely, selectively applies it wherever it serves him in whatever argument he's trying to make. And that's one way to get everyone up in arms and at each other's throats, because you can't make up your mind and stick with a specific direction for your own property. His constant inconsistencies call into question not only Vavra's credibility, but far more importantly, the integrity of Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 as a product. Anyone like myself who originally was defending him on the grounds of historical realism are now left wondering if we were intentionally misled. And rather than addressing these concerns honestly, Vavra has been doubling down and instead chosen to attack the very people he doesn't agree with. And it's not a great look, to be honest, going after the very community of people that are purchasing the games. The biggest hurdle for the game Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, ironically, never was its mechanics or the setting. It's whether players can still trust the man behind creating it. Vavra's flip-flopping and public outbursts make it hard to support the game in good faith. If he's willing to bend his principles when it suits him, what else might he compromise on? Are there secret checkboxes for diversity metrics in order to be considered for additional game awards? Why would you be doing this? Nobody asked for it, and the people that were asking for it, you shut them down immediately. And so now you're going to pander to a very, very vocal minority of person or people for a game that sells over 1 million copies in the first day of launch? It's just a really odd decision, and I don't know how else to look at this except for there's a missing piece of this puzzle that hasn't been explained yet. And most people are pointing directly to Embracer Group as that's why. The divide I'm seeing now, thanks to so many of you explaining your frustrations with me over the past 24 hours within the community, is pretty straightforward. We're being left with a choice of, do we separate the art from the artist and support Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 despite Vavra's contradictions? Or do we walk away from a creator who has proven himself to be extremely unreliable when it comes to being authentic with the community? Whatever direction we end up taking, I want to thank everyone here for the feedback in my previous video. I try my best to get it right, but sometimes I need you guys to make me aware of some angles I wasn't considering. And yeah, some people were far more kind than others in getting it across to me, but at the end of the day, all input is good feedback, and I try to take it in and do the best I can with it, and I appreciate all of you guys for that. And for those of you that stuck with me, I genuinely appreciate it. And if you want to watch my previous video on it, and if you missed it, go ahead and check it out. But I just, at the end of the day, just want to say thank you to you guys for all your tremendous support. I'm going to leave it there. If you guys want more information, check out smashjt.com. I will link the article I wrote about this in the description below. If you appreciate what I'm doing, hit the join button. And as always, you stay smashing. Smash,